Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the last episode of the Seduce Me series. Single tear going down my face. Yes, I can't believe it. This is actually going to be the end of everything. So as I suspected, no harem roots in this. I don't know how we would run that by our parents anyway. But anyway, I had to check and there was nothing. So all we got is this key in the corner. So, let's unlock whatever this bonus in the bonus is. I assume it has something to do with Diana, because all the other ones did, but we shall see. Oh, the balcony. Okay. Kay's triple dotting.
You can come out now if you want.
Dun, dun.
Thank you for doing this for me.
Yes. No more harm will come to that human or the incubus they wed. I've made sure of that.
Including
angels. They will not be bothered for the rest of their short years by heaven or its agents.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Good. Look,
You're not. I know you're not. In every single thread I've seen, you are never. So do not lie now.
Is this Michaela actually talking to Kay now? You're never sorry.
Well, then... Are you going to arrest me?
I would, but unfortunately I cannot. Not yet.
Why?
Why?
You and I both know that the time isn't right. If I were to arrest you now, then hell would break loose. Besides, you have something to deal with here.
I know. I'll take care of it.
Will you? Your actions caused a world war in the abyssal planes, and are about to cause more calamity here in the human world.
Oh no! More calamity.
Just know this. You will be apprehended after your little rebellious stunt is over, in all threads, and you will be judged by the hearth accordingly.
Oh, the hearth again.
Disrupting the peace will most likely result in your oblivion.
I look forward to it.
Okay. You're so chaotic, though. My goodness. Is that a hint for another thing? One of these days? I wonder. So eventually she's gonna go to that jail that we were in with Malix and be judged before the hearth. Interesting. But I'm a little confused by what is canon. Because like Kay acts like marrying Sam here in the human world is a canon thing. But in the Malix story, Sam was the ruler of the abyssal planes. And he's referred to as the dragon. I mean, he's still technically the dragon, even if we marry him in the human world. But yeah, I'm just wondering how that works. Does that mean that at some point we, like, him and the MC do end up going back to the abyssal planes and he ends up ruling? Or does he go back after she's died? Or, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that. Of course, some of you guys probably will know a lot more than I do, because you've been following threads and tweets and stuff from Michaela for years, so if you know some things, you feel free to enlighten me, because I would like to know. Or if you have theories, you know, please post that in the comment section too. Well, I guess that's it though, guys. We are completely done. I've got to admit, it's gonna be super, super strange to be leaving this world. I feel like I've been in the Seduce Me verse for ages, and I'm definitely going to miss it. I really did enjoy the sequel. Same high quality of music and voice acting was there, and I love the new art, especially in the CGs. I think I might slightly prefer the sprite art from the first game more, but I definitely love the CGs more in this one. We also got introduced to a ton of new characters, and I think I fell in love with them all. For instance, the trainers, definitely loved having them in. They were all unique, and it was fun to learn all the different fighting styles. I also personally love the inclusion of wives for all the boys in this. that's just me. I mean, they were all cute, and I definitely felt twinges of guilt whenever I started one of the other guys' routes after meeting them all. As for the writing, that also was definitely better. At least insofar as the overall story of the World War in the Abyssal Plains. That flowed very nicely, and it was a definite improvement from the overall story from the first game. Having said all that, though, there were some things that I personally didn't like as much. You guys probably know what some of those are already, so I try not to ramble on it too much. But I do still want to address what some of those were for me. I guess the first thing I want to talk about is character inconsistencies, and this is for 2 characters in particular. I think the rest of the characters were portrayed pretty well. Maybe 1 or 2 instances that were a little strange, but nothing major that comes to mind, except for these 2. Diane and the MC. So, Diane, let me preface with saying, I love that girl. I love her to bits. That wasn't made apparent in earlier videos. I think she's great, and I loved a lot of our interactions with her in this game. But I found her attitude towards the MC and some of the guys quite inconsistent at times. Like when we first meet her, again, she's super sweet, calling us dear and doing everything in her power to help us, and even using her body as a shield to protect the MC when she thinks the Demon Lord is going to attack. That's all super nice of her and everything, but considering how we left things in the first game, it's a little bit jarring. I don't think it was too jarring for me, since her route was one of the last ones I played in the first game. But if you came straight from the first game into this without doing that, her behavior is a little out of place. Then there's the fact that at certain points in some of the guys' routes, she gets very upset, hurt, angry at the MC, and insert guy here because they're the reason for this war and her family getting murdered. I mean, I can understand why she came to the conclusion. It's very easy to play the blame game when you're in deep emotional distress and grieving and everything, so I understand her reaction. It's just very back and forth with her, and I don't know if it's because of her muse that's controlling her, or she has multiple personality disorder, or what, but her attitude was all over the place at times. I think it would have made more sense for her to be angry at us when we first arrive, and then maybe slowly warming up to us, and insert fiancé here, as we're doing all we can to help her win her war or something, but the way it was in the game, it just felt off, to me anyways. Now, for the MC, there were a couple of things that bothered me about her in the first game, but nothing major, and I really appreciated that she was definitely her own person, and she stayed that way, no matter which of the routes you were doing. I thought that was great. In the sequel, however, her personality changes are pretty obvious, especially when it comes to certain boys. I guess it was to make her line up more with each guy, which happens a ton in other dating sims, and that's personally not a big problem for me personally. I don't mind if the MC changes her personality, as long as it's consistent throughout the game. But because the MC in this series had such an established personality in the first game, her thoughts and reactions on some of the routes in the sequel really didn't seem to make sense to me. I felt like she was the most herself on Matthew's route, and the most different on Damien's. I felt she was super supportive and was willing to, make a deal with the devil, so to speak, in the first game for his sake, but then she was really wanting him to go back to being something that made him unhappy. But anyway, I've gone on and on about that in other videos and comments, and maybe it just bothers me so much because Damien is a sweet, precious cinnamon bun, and he deserves all the support and cuddles in the world, okay? I'm fine. But since I am talking about Damien, I guess I should mention that another thing that bothered me was that his humanity got retconned in the sequel. That's another thing that bothered me. I was so excited to see how things would play out with him being a human. What challenges would they have to face? Would he and the MC have to work together and prove that the power of love could beat the Demon Lord once and for all? But no. Poor sweet boy's only wish got retconned, and we had to go through basically the same story of helping him achieve his humanity. It almost made me feel like there's nothing interesting about Damien if he doesn't have his mind reading and his incubi powers and his desperate wish, that he's not interesting enough in his own right without those things. And I don't feel that way at all. I mean, that's why we had to go through a similar story with him again, just because of that. I don't know. I just feel like there could have been some interesting ways the story could have gone with Damien being human, but that didn't end up happening. Right, next thing on my list. Less sex, more talk. You can probably guess where I'm going with that one, right? This is one place that I felt the writing wasn't as great. Overall story much better in this game, like I said earlier, but I really wish there had been more one-on-one conversation and moments between our Inky Boys and MC than just the sex scenes. This is especially a problem in James and Eric's roots, I think. Sam's handled the best, with a lot more interaction, and Matthew and Damien weren't too bad in that regard either. But I feel like the only time we would have time with James and Eric was when there were fun times to be had. They were often gone first thing in the morning, and there wasn't much talking after training in the day either, so yeah, I just wish there had been more actual talking about how the guys felt being back home. I presume none of them knew that their mothers had been killed? Did they ever find out? Could we have talked about that? How they felt going up against the jerk of a dad? Yeah, just, I don't know. The MC asking questions about the place, just kind of wish there had been more talking all around. And the rest of these that I have on my list are more nitpicky, so I promise to keep this part shorter. Ugh, I knew I was gonna blather on. Okay, I promise. Be briefer, I will. First thing, nightmares not explained and scenes that had no payoff. The nightmare thing is just me wondering why the heck the MC had all these nightmarish visions of potential bad ends throughout each route. Where did they come from? What was the purpose? Did that get explained and I missed it? If I did, please let me know, because I would love to know how that happened. As for scenes that didn't pay off, I mean that there were just some scenes that you thought might pay off later, but they didn't, and they could have just been left out, and nothing would change. One example that I have of that is when we go to our grandpa's grave before getting married in, I think it's Sam's route, and the rain suddenly stops, and we find out we still have magic. I thought maybe we were going to have some new powers or something, but literally nothing came from that. And it's not like we don't have access to magic in the other routes. We just can use magic, even though Diana told us she had stolen it all on the balcony in the first game, but we have it again. So there's that. Other nitpicky thing is that there was a lot more grammatical mistakes in this one compared to the first, and it took me out of the moment a lot when playing, but that's not a major complaint. It's easy to do, especially considering how much of a bigger game this one is compared to the first, so I'm not going to go on about that, but I thought it should be mentioned. And lastly, this is more like a very, very personal thing for me, but I couldn't help but feel like there may have been some favoritism in the route department. I really feel like Sam got the deluxe treatment here, and I get it. I mean, he's the canon route, and probably Michaela's favorite, I'm guessing, as well as most of the fandom's favorite, but there definitely felt like a lot more thought and care went into his route. It was much longer than the other guys, and that was with me skipping some stuff I had seen before. His interactions with the MC had a lot more thought put into them too. Maybe that only bothered me since Sam's not my favorite in the game, and so I felt like maybe my DS Prince Eric got cheated a bit. I don't know. It may be all in my mind, and I'm sure if you love Sam, then it's probably not noticed and probably greatly appreciated, but for me, I just felt a little sad that some of the guys didn't have as much time as Sam. And, okay, alright, that's it! I swear, I promise, everything I just said does not mean that I hated this game or series or anything to that effect. I genuinely had a great time with this. And as mentioned earlier, I'm going to be quite sad to leave the universe and its characters. The series has a real way of drawing you in, and I enjoyed my time with these games immensely, so thank you guys very, very much for recommending this series to me again. I've had a great time with it. Okay, on to the fun stuff now, my favorite routes in the game. Let's see, I'd have to list it as James first, then Sam's, Eric, Damien's, and then Matthew's. Does this affect my favorite guys from the first game? Slightly, actually. James is so close now to being my number one. He was great in this one, and because his route was so much better than Eric's, he almost knocked him from his number one spot. But I still gotta stick with my prince. It's being first in my heart. I can't help it. I don't care, Orbel. You can scream Icky Man all you want, but he's always gonna be my prince. But Damien and Matthew have switched places on my list now. So, my boys in order are Eric first, then James, Damien now, Matthew, and Sam. Oh wait, I forgot Diana though. I'd probably put her between Damien and Matthew now, actually. So, James, Eric, Damien, Diana, Matthew, and Sam. I'd be curious to hear from you guys whether your list changed at all from the first game to this game and what the changes were. And before this is asked in a comment somewhere, because I'm sure it will be, I will tell you my favorite fun time list as well. Gosh. Okay. It's James, Eric, Damien, Matthew, Diana, and then Sam. And I swear, don't read too much into the fact that I enjoy James's the most, okay? It doesn't mean anything. I just had to pick a favorite, okay? Please buy what I'm saying. I mean it. Don't read into it. I promise. Okay. I really have blathered. Gosh, sorry about that. I guess that shows how much I enjoyed the game, though, right? Because if you don't like a game, you don't really want to talk about it, and there's so much I wanted to talk about this one. So, thank you so much for listening and having great conversations with me through the comment section as I've gone through these games. It's been a lot of fun hearing your thoughts and discussing things together. But, sadly, we are done now with both games, so it's time to move on to new things. Because these last games have been rather on the long side, I thought I would pick 2 shorter games for a change of pace. The first of these doesn't have roots per se, but there are roots of a sort. It's a really cute game, and is in no way a secret horror game that a lot of you have asked me to play for ages. Really, I promise. Think about that one. As for the second game, I've played these devs' second game fully on my channel, and I'm eagerly awaiting their fan disc, which it's gonna come one day and I'll be right on it. But I've had a lot of you ask me to play their first game, and I thought now might be a good time to check that out because I think it's fairly short as well. So there you go. There's your vague-ish clues for the next game. I can't wait to hear your guesses in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this, and I hope I'll see you in the new series to come. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.